right, everyone, welcome back to another episode, finally, of the Save Point Vids podcast. I am Josh, and as always, I've got Sean and Chase here. Today's episode, we are going to be talking about Hearthstone pro players getting banned for basically their free speech, the Spec Ops mode in Call of Duty being detailed, and obviously the PlayStation 5 holiday 2020 release window being announced. But before we get into that, I wanted to remind you that, again, this is the Save Point Vids podcast. You can find us at youtube.com/SavePointVids. Give it a like, or I guess a thumbs up. Hit the subscribe button. And then while you're at it, go over to Instagram.com/SavePointVids, Twitter.com/SavePointVids, and give us a follow there. We definitely appreciate all of the love and support. I guess that's it for the housekeeping. How you guys doing? Yeah, it's been a while. It's been like 2 weeks since we've recorded.
That long?
Yeah.
Yeah, it's been a minute.
It's been almost 2 weeks. So anyway, guys, let's jump into our first news story. This comes courtesy of IGN.com. It is Marvel's Avengers story will roll out over the course of multiple years. So this is from Matt Purslow at IGN. Marvel's Avengers developer Crystal Dynamics has explained the length of the upcoming superhero game is, quote, comparable to the studio's Tomb Raider titles, Initially talking to comicbook.com, senior brand director Rich Briggs said, "We're not putting exact numbers on it just yet, but you can expect something comparable to what we've done in the past," end quote. He alluded to the campaign's length by referencing the kind of hours you'd expect to get out of a Crystal Dynamics game. Quote, "If you think about previous Crystal games, you know that if you want to be playing your way through the core story, it's going to be in that area 10 to 12 hours. But if you want to see everything there is and do all the side missions and everything else, you're generally looking at 30 plus hours in the Tomb Raider games," end quote. Briggs noted that this relates specifically to the game's launch content, and then, of course, you have the extended narrative and the extended game plan, more heroes post-launch, end quote, he had added. IGN was able to get a clarifying comment from Crystal Dynamics indicating that the long lifespan plan for the game, quote, Marvel's Avengers has an all-original core campaign narrative comparable to previous Crystal Dynamics games. The numbers quoted were for Rise of the Tomb Raider. As we are still in development, we have not yet finalized the exact number of hours for the campaign and Marvel's Avengers. This is the most ambitious game Crystal Dynamics has ever developed. In addition to the main campaign narrative, we're crafting stories that will take fans on a journey over the course of multiple years. It's a long story, so one more paragraph. With that in mind, we could be looking at around 30 hours to do Marvel's Avengers solo campaign and playthroughs of all of the co-op Warzone missions. However, what the original quoted numbers didn't take into consideration is the fact that Avengers is a live game with areas that are presumably meant to be played through multiple times like other multiplayer experiences. The quote, extended game plan could mean anything, including in-game events, which would add further playtime, blah, blah, blah. So what, I know we've kind of talked about it before, what are you guys, what does this mean for you? Does this make you more excited, less excited?
I'm actually less excited.
About this? The 30 hours, roughly?
It's not really that. It's the idea of them adding content. And it's not specifically like the philosophy of adding content. That's always a good thing. Mm-hmm. It's more like how much are they stripping out of the game to put back into the game at a later point.
So do you think that was the plan all along?
To do that?
Yeah.
Yeah.
You think so?
Yeah.
I would hope that they wouldn't,
that's
but...
kind of like the plan for all live service games.
Yeah.
I like Crystal Dynamics, though.
Yeah, I'm interested to see...
I like the Tomb Raider games.
I don't know, man. The more I hear about stuff like this, it's
almost like if they would have said, like, we packed as much as we could into this game, mm-hmm. and then once maybe, like, 6 months down the road, say, like, this is what else we got coming for the game. I would have been way more excited for that.
First huge expansion, right.
It's just, I get kind of weary of the old, let's kind of drag it out as long as we can, you know?
Yeah, I don't know. Like, 30 hours seems reasonable. you know, for a co-op, or for a, not a co-op, but for like the solo campaign. After that, I don't know, unless I'm super engaged during that 30 hours and I was like, oh my God, I can't wait to see what next, or maybe it, you know, ends on a cliffhanger. I don't, and this is just going off of previous live service games that I've tried. I don't know if I'll go back to more.
Yeah, that's,
you know
the thing.
What I mean?
I've yet to play like a live service game that's hooked me all the way through its life cycle.
Right.
I just haven't played one. That's just me personally. I know there's probably lots of people that play it from like beginning for years.
Well, there's still, I mean, Destiny 2 just released their newest expansion.
Yeah.
And by all accounts, people, new fans and the people that have been there since day one are super thrilled with it.
The new light, the free
Did you?
version of it.
Right.
And I like it, but it's just, I don't know. Maybe I'm just burnt out on that kind of stuff, but I put it down after a couple of days.
The whole live service thing, I think, and I know we've said it over and over, but I just don't. I'm over the live service thing.
Me too.
I wish it would just go back to the PS2, PS3 area where you shipped a game.
Right.
Maybe there is some story DLC, but it wasn't like this ever-evolving live service.
I like I wouldn't know if like Borderlands is considered like a live service, but the way they implement multiplayer, I like that. And I haven't played Borderlands 3 yet, but I played the crap out of the first two.
Right.
If it was just like that, then I'm all for that. But like the live service model is different than just having a multiplayer, you know, attached to your game. And when I hear live service, I feel like, okay, so there's going to be microtransactions. There's probably stuff that could have been in the game that they're going to, content that's going to be pushed down the line.
And I think that's just because, I mean, whether, and the thing is, whether that is ultimately true or not, I think is besides the point at this point. Because even if, let's say Square and Crystal, they do it the right way, and that's not the case, we've been so jaded.
Yeah, exactly.
I
just don't trust it at all.
Yeah, the well has been poisoned. So it's just like, even if they do it the right way and they say all the right things, you know, it might be a case of too little too late. You know what I mean? So who knows?
Unless something comes along that just really blows everybody away.
Right. The next story is, again, from all of the stories this week are from IGN, but this is from Alicia Judge. Call of Duty Modern Warfare Spec Ops mode detailed. Activision has detailed the contents of Call of Duty's Modern Warfare's Special Ops, which is coming back after being absent since Modern Warfare 2, and provides a story that picks up where the main campaign ends. Up to 4 players can play Special Ops together when the mode launches alongside the full game on October 25th. According to an official blog post, players battle against an evil that has overtaken the Eastern Hemisphere. The main objective is to stop and sever a global terror organization's access to weapons, funds, intelligence, and hardware. There are 2 modes in the Spec Ops missions, missions and operations. Operations are sprawling, multiplayer-only match-made experiences. Each has a unique objective, usually to remove or destroy a key part of the enemy's armed forces, and can be completed with some flexibility in that you can choose to be stealthy or use force to win. Meanwhile, missions can be completed in teams of 4 or by yourself, whereas operations test your broad abilities and strategies. Missions are laser focused and test your skills with specific weapons or tools. Upon completing one, you'll be awarded with a star rating based on your performance, which will be familiar to COD veterans. Activision has enabled cross-progression between the online multiplayer and Spec Ops, so your customized weapons, kill streaks, and unlockable items will carry over between both modes. One thing to note, PlayStation players can take part in a mode that's exclusive to the console until October 2020, called Special Ops Survival, but despite the name, it's separate to Special Ops. Special Ops Survival is a wave-based challenge where players battle against hordes of increasingly difficult enemies until they're overwhelmed.
I really wanted that.
So the thing about that, we'll start at the end first. I mean, with Call of Duty being an annualized franchise, they're basically...
It's just a PlayStation exclusive
mode. It's a PlayStation exclusive mode at this point.
By the time it's available to every other platform,
like everybody's already going to be moved on.
Be out.
So, but anyway, so obviously it's no secret we're all pretty excited about.
Oh yeah.
So, first off, did you guys remember playing the original Spec Ops mode?
Oh,
on
yeah.
Modern
I
Warfare?
love
played it a
Spec
lot.
Ops.
Did
I
you?
like Spec Ops way
More
more than
than
zombies.
Really?
Yeah.
So this gets you hyped?
Oh yeah.
Okay.
I don't know. I'm definitely gonna play it, but I don't know.
It's still going to be multiplayer as the main
yeah,
focus.
multiplayer
for
is
sure.
gonna be my main focus.
Now, is the idea of it picking up maybe like a side story from the main campaign, does that do anything for you?
Oh yeah,
It does?
Yeah, because I'm playing through the campaign, and also like an incentive to play it is I like that your progression crosses over between.
I really like that.
Spec
a
Ops
lot.
and multiplayer. So usually, like if I play something besides like multiplayer in a Call of Duty, I feel like I could have ranked up by now and I could have unlocked this weapon that I've wanted. So being able to like still unlock your gear as you play other modes, I think that's really cool.
Yeah. So what about you? Same thing?
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I'm excited. I don't know how much, 'cause I don't really remember playing Spec Ops. I know that I did. There was one mission on a bridge. I don't know. I know that sounds really.
That could be many a things.
I remember it was like a bridge over maybe a bay or a river, and it was all bombed out. There were cars everywhere, and basically you started at one end of the bridge, and your objective was to get to the other side, and you were ducking and diving in between cars. That's all I remember from that mode. I do like the idea that it'll pick up the story. That'll probably give me more of a reason to play it than anything.
The story looks really good.
The story does look really good.
Yeah.
And so I do like that aspect of it. But yeah, like you were saying, as long as the progression carries, there's really I don't want to say there's no reason, but yeah, there's really not a reason to
not
play it. Because yeah, like you said, previous games, it's like you had to pick one or the other to invest your time in.
Missing out on your other
and
your
so
other stuff.
Yeah, for it to carry over, that's really cool. It seems that Activision and they're doing all the right things now. When it comes to launch, well, I mean, I'm assuming they've had pretty smooth launches with the other games.
Yeah.
I hope that the issues that we did have with the beta obviously will be cleaned up, because really we're only
a couple weeks, like 2.5 weeks.
2 weeks and 2 days.
We're 15, 16 days away from launch, so we're only 2 weeks and a couple days. So hopefully that stuff is ironed out. I'm assuming it will be, but I guess we'll see come the 25th. The next story, again, as I said before, is from IGN. Hearthstone Pro banned by Blizzard after calling for Hong Kong liberation during a stream. This is a long story. I'm not going to read everything because it is evolving up until actually as we record this. I'll give you guys the original, but there are a couple of updates. I'm actually going to do a deeper dive video that I'll put up, if not today, then tomorrow. And actually, instead of reading this, I'll just kind of have you guys heard anything about this?
I heard the headline.
No.
I heard the headline, and
I've known about like the Hong Kong protests
and
everything.
For those that don't know, the Hong Kong protests, they started back in the spring, earlier this year. It originally started because China had created laws to basically be able to extradite Hong Kong citizens to the mainland for judiciary purposes. So basically they could prosecute them with whatever offense they deemed fit. That erupted into protests, some violent, some not. But in the since then, the government has backed down on that a little bit, but the protests have persisted because now it's more, instead of just that, it's broadened into a more
civil rights type.
Civil rights, human rights, just like a full-fledged liberation. And so it's been ongoing. If you pay attention to the news, it's been on there almost daily. In recent weeks, they've put a ban on wearing face masks or any type of mask that would cover your face because it protects, obviously, the protester's identity. And so that the face mask itself or any type of like face covering has been like a symbol of the resistance or of the protest. It's funny that actually it's running in parallel. I'm sure you guys have heard the Houston Rockets news by their GM, Morey. I can't remember his first name. Daryl Morey, who's the GM for the Houston Rockets. He tweeted a picture in support of the protest. And since then, China has canceled a bunch of joint events in China with the NBA that have cost...
I didn't know that.
Which have cost them millions in revenue. And so, anyway, point is, it's funny that this is all... Not funny, but it's interesting that this is all happening in parallel in different industries. But yeah, so Blizzard decided to suspend this guy, for a year.
Is he from Hong Kong, or is he like...
He's from Hong Kong.
Okay.
So he is a professional Hearthstone player, and he had won a match on October 6th, so 3 days ago as the time of this recording. And in the interview, it was by a Taiwanese... It was the official Taiwanese Hearthstone organization. He was being interviewed by two people, I don't know if they were both men, but two people. And in the middle of the stream, he had basically pledged his support to the protesters. And he had said that, like, I'll pull up the quote. I'll pull up his quote. He had said, liberate Hong Kong, revolution of our age, is what he said. And when he said that, basically the stream had cut very quickly. Like, they tried to silence him. So they cut, and they, like, went to commercial break. So... who was it? In Ven Global, which was the news outlet that broke this story, they got a quote from Chung, who goes by the name of what was his name? Blitz Chung in Hearthstone. That's his username. In a statement, he says, "As you know, there are serious protests in my country right now. My call on stream was just another form of participation of the protests that I wish to grab more attention. It could cause me a lot of trouble, even my personal safety in real life, but I think it's my duty to say something about the issue." So after that, basically tying this back into Blizzard suspended him because they have a rule in place that says, quote, engaging in any act that, in Blizzard's sole discretion, brings you into public disrepute, offends a portion or group of the public, or otherwise damages Blizzard's image, will result in removal from Grandmasters, which is the tournament he participated in, and reduction of the player's prize total to $0 USD, in addition to other remedies which may be provided for under the handbook and Blizzard's website terms. So basically, Blizzard said, hey, you broke the rules. You're tarnishing our name. You're pissing off the Chinese government.
But was he really tarnishing Blizzard's name?
He was, in the sense that Blizzard has
the rule that they put in, but
they have billions of dollars at stake in China, because we all know that China is such a huge market for video games. Mm-hmm. That just like the NBA, if China decides, hey, Blizzard, you're not going to bring going to bring your game to our country anymore. That's going to cause you to lose billions of dollars in revenue. Blizzard's not going to take that, right. And so they're like, well, we'll just silence the kid. And so
I get why they did, but it's not right.
I agree 100%.
It's not right,
and it's the thing of, did he technically break the rules? Yes.
Yeah, it's a dumb rule, though.
It's a dumb rule that's suppressing... And again, it's at Blizzard's sole discretion, so they could say anything that they wanted. Mm-hmm. And so it's just one of those things. I brought this up because, yes, it's about video games, but it really is. It's where, like you said, civil rights, human rights, and video games kind of intersect.
I feel like that rule was more put in place to protect against, like, racist comments and stuff like that, but...
Right. Yeah, if you say something stupid
a certain group of people. But,
if you say something racist or bigoted on stream, not that, hey, I want my people to be free.
Yeah.
And so, it's very interesting. He's been he's technically been suspended from any esports tournaments for 1 year. He had all of his prize money taken away. He did have IGN was able to get a follow-up quote actually that said, let me pull it up here. Speaking with IGN, Chung says he doesn't regret what he did during the stream. Quote, I expected the decision by Blizzard. I think it's unfair, but I do respect their decision. I'm not regretful of what I said. Chung added, I shouldn't be afraid of these kinds of white terror. When asked what white terror meant, Chung clarified it describes anonymous acts that create a climate of fear. And so, like, you know, he obviously knew what he was doing. This was premeditated. And the two from Taiwan, the two Taiwanese interviewers, they lost their contracts with Blizzard as well.
Sweet Jesus.
And
it's
so
all about the money, man.
And it is, and that's. And I get,
when it comes to a situation like that, it shouldn't be.
And that's the thing. I'm very much pro-capitalism. I'm very much like, hey, you own a business, or, you know, we have a YouTube channel, or, you know, you work for somebody else. I'm all about getting as much money as you can in an ethical, legal way. But sometimes it's about doing the morally correct thing.
I'm just against trying to silence people and then using money as a way to silence people. That's just...
Yeah, and so it sucks. Now, again, this is an ever-evolving story. As I was coming over here to record this, there was another article that was floating around on Reddit that said that the Blizzard subreddit has been shut down just because people were you can imagine
so much blowback.
The cesspool that's turned into. You know, I don't know, even like I don't know if it was a senator or a representative from the state of California got involved.
Really?
Or put out a statement that was saying that, you know, and I'm paraphrasing here, but like, you know, you're silencing somebody's right to freedom of speech to appease the Chinese communists or something along those lines.
He's not wrong.
And so, but yeah, so again,
be an even bigger blowback to Blizzard is if people just
and people have been deleting their Blizzard accounts.
Yeah,
and again, I know we've talked about
the big pros.
Yeah,
if they just, you know, said until you reinstate him, we're not going to play anymore.
Right.
All that, and then
and
cost some money that way,
and we've seen like boycott Borderlands 3 and boycott Modern Warfare, and you know this is different than that only because it really is about a human rights issue.
Mm-hmm. Right.
It's about a whole group of people that, you know, want their freedoms. And so I do think that in this case, a boycott, especially from the top pros, you know, could be a real movement, a real change, you know, especially if...
I don't see it happening.
I don't
People
either.
Care about their money too much.
I do see that, but, you know, even if... Yeah, I don't know what the tipping point is to where Blizzard and their PR team somehow finds a way to backtrack and make a statement. You know what I mean? Because, you know, on the one hand, yeah, it's like, you know, they know what they're doing is wrong. Now, whether they change their stance or not, that's a different issue because there are potentially billions of dollars at stake for their company and their shareholders.
Sucks to be Blizzard right now.
And so...
Yeah, but... you know that if they've just wait long enough, Blizzard doesn't do anything else, just waits long enough, no more statements, this will blow over. It's the day and age...
Until the next news story about whatever else.
The day and age we live in with social media and all these news stories coming out every single day. Yeah. It'll only be a matter of time before people forget about this.
That is, at this point, in 2019, that is a legitimate strategy. Just shut your mouth. Yeah. We did what we did. We ripped the Band-Aid off. Shut your mouth until...
they'll get over it. They'll forget about it.
Until Trump does something stupid again, or until the next news story in the video game industry breaks and people forget about this. But yeah, it was interesting. Like I said, I brought it in just because it was more than just video games. Obviously, again, it's an evolving story, so I'm sure we'll have an update the next time we record. There was another, real quick before we put a pin in it, there was another article that said that basically Epic said that they won't, and they didn't. I don't think they quoted. I didn't read the whole story, so correct me if I'm wrong, but they didn't quote Blizzard by name in their statement, but they said that we won't silence our players when they make. It was just a shot. It was just like a kick the guy while they're down type of thing.
Yeah.
And so, but anyway, so yeah, we'll keep an eye on that. We'll keep you updated as that story progresses. In my opinion, the biggest news of the week is that Sony announced officially the PlayStation 5. They didn't announce the PlayStation 5. They confirmed that the PlayStation 5 is indeed the name, as if there was any question.
Yeah, why would they change it now? The fifth iteration, they finally go with a different name besides PlayStation and a number. And
even though we were all assuming it was going to be a holiday 2020 release, they did confirm that is in fact the case. So basically, it's officially called the PlayStation 5. The blog also reveals that the console's controller will feature 2 key new innovations: haptic feedback, replacing the traditional rumble, and adaptive controllers.
Xbox already had that.
The controller, the triggers? Yeah. Yeah, they did. Yeah, it's about time they got on board with that. It will feature USB-C charging, which I love, a higher capacity battery, which they desperately need.
God, I hope friggin' the Xbox controllers have USB charging, or like the micro USB charging, dude. I'm so tired of buying fucking batteries for that.
I'm assuming
they'll have a USB-C. I'm assuming it'll be like a universal charger at this point.
I'm sure they probably make a lot of money selling those like $30 rechargeable battery packs separately.
Yeah, you might be right. Wired got more detail from system architect Mark Cerny. Haptic feedback will come through, quote, highly programmable voice coil actuators located on the left and right grips of the controller, end quote, which offer more tactile responses than the DualShock 4's rumble motors currently can. Along with an improved speaker, Wired reports that a modified version of Astrobot Rescue Mission offers realistic feelings for the surfaces that players run across. So they use that example where the controller will rumble, or not rumble, but it'll vibrate differently if you're like walking through sand versus if you're walking through like mud or something like so that seems pretty cool. And so like I said, it's not anything we didn't really expect. That is kind of cool to hear about. They do have some bullet points. IGN listed some bullet points. The game, or the console, will still play physical games. A solid state drive will be standard in the PlayStation 5. PlayStation VR will still be compatible. PlayStation 5 will have full backwards compatibility with the PS4. Sony used PlayStation 4 title Marvel Spider-Man to demo the console's faster loading capabilities. And the PS5 supports 3D audio and will have 8K TV support.
I think I'm just like most excited for those loading times, man.
If it's instantaneous, do you guys remember? So good. Did you guys see the Spider-Man demo? Yeah. So I mean, if it's really like that, that could be. I mean, that's huge. Right. I mean, that would be awesome if things load in faster and it is instantaneous. Imagine games that. I mean, look at any like. What's the developer I'm thinking of? Skyrim, Fallout. Bethesda. Any open world games like that, or even like The Witcher or whatever, Cyberpunk, if that can, be a thing. They also said that the UI, when you boot up the console, will be completely different. It's going to be more live, whatever that means. But you can also install, with every game, it should be standard. If I understood correctly, it can be standard. You can install only the multiplayer.
Yeah.
Only the campaign,
whatever.
And once you're done with the campaign, you have the ability to delete just that to free up hard drive space. That's cool. If somebody on your friends list is playing, let's say, Fortnite, it used to be, and I think PC does this a little bit, but it used to be where it would give you just the very basic information about the match they're in. But here, like from the home screen of the PlayStation, like when you boot it up, you can see how many people are left. You can see how much time is left, and so it gives you the option to, from the home screen, jump right into the multiplayer instead of booting up the game, going through the games menu, to get into the multiplayer.
Searching for your friend.
Yeah, so it basically circumvents that it's just
that.
like quality of life stuff.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
So just, you can immediately jump in or, a lot faster be able to jump into what your friends are doing versus, having to do all the matchmaking and then going through the game's menus and things like that. Which at this point, it used to be, obviously you guys remember, when a new generation was all about like the graphics. What are the graphics look like? Now that, obviously PS5 is going to look better than PS4, but, the jump from PS3 to PS4 wasn't... Like, the jumps are getting more incremental instead of more revolutionary. Right. And so I think it makes sense that, the features that they're going to be talking about are going to be more under the hood.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
More, quality of life stuff because the leaps in technology just aren't necessarily going to be there. With that being said, though, he did say that ray tracing will be hardware enabled instead of software enabled.
That's
which
good.
for the PC nerds out there is, I guess, the true way to do it.
Yeah,
So,
God race.
Yeah.
We're trying, people.
But yeah, okay, let me ask you this. As it used to be, going back, before the age of social media and instant access to information, and, we really didn't learn about a new generation and a new hardware announcement until we read about it in the next month's GamePro or EGM. And, obviously with, with the internet, but before YouTube and video, we could check websites daily for updates. My point is what do you guys think about this slow rollout of information? Because Xbox is doing it too. They released, they teased a little more at E3. Sony is, teasing this. They're, little bits of information here and there, versus when it was just here's the next console. Here's everything that you need to know about it. What do you guys like this approach better? Would you rather just them go on an E3 stage or have an event of their own and just blow it out like it used to be?
I really don't know.
What about you?
I think I like this slow rollout
Do you?
better.
Just
yeah,
every
just
couple
getting
months
a little
or
bit
every couple
of
weeks.
information.
It does
So by the time it is announced and it does come out, you have everything you need to know whether you want to invest the money into getting it, and you have a lot of time to think about it.
See, I'm with you. I think I like this approach more, only because my thought is that if they still do the rumored, and I'm talking about Sony specifically, if they still do the rumored PS5 full reveal, where I'm assuming we would see what the console looks like and probably some tech demos or some games running in February of next year, it used to be where they would have PowerPoint presentations on the specs. Mm-hmm. Now that we got that all out of the way,
more
is it just going to be focused on games?
Yeah, demonstration.
Yeah,
I hope so.
Demonstration.
And so that's my thing is let's get all the tech nerdy stuff out of the way that all the hardcore people are going to latch onto. That way, when we blow the doors off of it, we reveal what it looks like, we reveal maybe the price and the exact launch date and the games. And, the mainstream sites like maybe the New York Times or the Wall Street Journal or whatever pick up these news stories. It's just about
the meat.
The titles. It's just about, what the console is. Again, there was nothing in this report from Wire that surprised me. We all expected it to come out 2020. It's obviously going to look better. The load times are going to be better. It's going to be...
It's going to be named the PlayStation 5.
It's going to be named the PS5. There were literally no shockers. I do like... Yeah, how every couple... it seems to be every 6 or 8 weeks, there's a new little drip of information, and people like us can talk about it and move on with our day. That's pretty much it as far as the news stories are concerned. Did you guys have anything before we get into what we've been playing?
No. Also, don't quote Kotaku anymore. What? I heard they're charging people to quote them.
Really?
Yeah, they must be in dire straits over there.
All right, fair enough. No more Kotaku's on the blacklist.
We're gonna have to paraphrase.
Fair enough. I'm gonna paraphrase from now on. Jeez, yeah, because God knows I don't have any money to pay him. That's funny. I didn't know that.
Yeah, I read that somewhere. It wasn't Kotaku.
So who wants to go first? What have you guys been playing? Like I said, it's been 2 weeks since we recorded.
I played a little bit of Hellblade.
Oh,
Senua's Sacrifice.
How's that?
It's really good.
That came out last year, right? 2018?
2018 or 2017.
Okay.
Like that, but
Man, I watched him play it, but those graphics
they're still really good.
That was one that I meant to get to, and it kind of slipped through the cracks.
The story's really good. It says, like, on the thing, it recommends you playing with headphones, and I tried that, and it's really good. Because
there's a lot of, like,
little
audio,
voices and stuff, like, because she's kind of, like,
crazy.
Yeah, it's like
it has something to do with like your mental.
Yeah, I heard it's like a metaphor for like like
mental illness or something.
Yeah,
something like that. Yeah, I remember bits and pieces of hearing about
like
that.
The exploration, it's all right, but like the battles and the puzzles and
now,
the story is really good.
Is it like a 3D action adventure? Is it like a okay?
Yeah, and the battles, they're really fun. They're like. It's more tactical than just your like normal hack and slash. Like you got to think about dodges and parries and when to attack, and you can only focus in on like one enemy at a time. So you got to.
So is it kind of like Dark Souls-y in that way, where it's like very methodical,
but not like to that degree?
Okay.
And like so, like you have to like pick who you want, and then you have to be aware if somebody's behind you. But if you're about to get attacked from behind, like a little voice will say into your head, like "Watch out from behind."
That's actually kind of cool.
And
I like the sound design stuff like that.
Yeah, and the story was really cool. She's like going into hell, like the Viking hell,
right?
And I think she's like
she's Celtic.
Yeah, she's Celtic.
Okay, that makes sense.
Yeah, but it was really good. I'm only a few hours.
I'm glad Microsoft bought Ninja Theory.
Yeah, I'm interested to see, speaking of the next generation, I'm interested to see really, because with Sony, like, you can kind of figure out what their first parties are doing, you know, like, and Polyphony's going to do the next Gran Turismo, and
God,
Guerrilla's going to...
When was the last Gran Turismo? Sweet Jesus.
2017.
Oh, never mind. I don't have a PlayStation.
But yeah, and so, like, you can kind of, you know... Sucker Punch is doing Ghost of Tsushima. Yeah. I'm really interested to see, though, with all of their acquisitions, like what they really are working on.
Yeah, me too. Fable 4.
Yeah. Anything else? You playing anything else?
I've also been playing the new season of Apex Legends.
How is that? How's season 3? I
like it.
I re-downloaded it.
I like
I haven't jumped in yet.
New map. New gun, charge rifle. It's like a sniper rifle.
Really?
Yeah. There's like no bullet drop off, so it's like if you got them in your sights, no matter how far away, you got them.
Really?
And there's like a beam
is that overpowered?
A little bit.
It sounds overpowered.
It has like a beam that like does like a little increments of damage, and then like for like a second, and then it like
takes
shoots,
off.
And then like you hit them for like. Like 40 damage,
really?
like 60, depending on what armor and where you hit them. And...
So with the map, there's like a lava and there's like a
Ice.
winter place. Yeah. So is the old map, is that not available? Is that just the new map now?
It's just the new map.
Okay.
I don't know if they're going to bring it back. They said they'd wait for feedback before they decide whether they're going to bring it back or not.
Yeah, I re-downloaded it because I fell off probably towards I'd say the middle of season 2. But I was interested in seeing. Now, what's the new guy's name?
Crypto.
Have you tried him?
Yeah, I just unlocked him
Did you?
a couple days ago. He's pretty good. I like him. He has like a scout drone, like where like if you're within like I think it's like 30 meters of an enemy, it like pings them on your entire team's map so you can see them through walls and stuff.
Oh, very cool.
Has like a EMP blast. Deals like 50% armor damage.
Good for recon.
Yeah.
Okay.
But yeah, I like it.
I'm gonna have to jump back into that.
I wish more BRs just would release like brand new maps. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Instead of just tweaking their maps. And putting in the snow section or putting in the for a season. Just make a whole new map. Because I mean I don't really play it all that much, but just like looking at it, it looks.
It's cool. Interesting enough. And that kind of goes back to the live service thing. It's interesting enough to where. all right, I might. It's been probably a couple months since I played this, but it's enough has changed where I could jump back in and at least give it a shot. But yeah, what about you?
Oh, and before we start, I've also been playing Call of Duty Mobile.
How is that?
I
downloaded
it. It's really good.
Is
like,
it?
Yeah, it's like it's a mobile game. Like,
Sure.
don't get it wrong, but it plays like a COD game.
Really?
And it has like all the old maps from like all the
Right.
Black Ops, Modern Warfare 2.
Now is it
all
like
that.
virtual joysticks?
Yeah,
and all that?
you use your thumbs.
How's the controls? Is it?
It takes a little bit of getting used to, but
Yeah.
once you do,
It feels alright.
yeah, it's not too bad.
Interesting.
I mean, it's definitely a mobile game, but
Right.
it's definitely enough to hold me over on my COD fix until Modern Warfare.
Now, what's like the progression system? Is it a lot of microtransactions? Is it a lot of like everything's
Yeah, I
behind
mean,
paywalls?
there's a lot of microtransactions, of course.
So you level up. So explain it to me. So as you level up, since you're not on, I'm assuming a lot of the unlocks that you would normally get are probably behind paywalls.
I mean,
is that the case?
It's mostly like cosmetics and stuff from what I've seen.
Okay, so it's not like the actual guns or anything.
But there's like, I don't even know. There's a lot of different like levels and tiers and unlocks, and you just unlock like one thing at a time, like a perk, a gun.
See, I have it. I downloaded that when it became available. I haven't played it yet. I actually deleted Mario Kart. It was just getting on my nerves. It was like,
Yeah, I heard it was bad.
it's really, really getting on my nerves, so I just ended up deleting that. But that's good though. It had like 100 million downloads. COD.
Jeez, I don't have that many, but it's really good, like for like a mobile first person
shooter,
like multiplayer.
Now is it still as like Twitch based as?
I mean, yes and
Yeah,
no. It's
okay.
because I think it's a lot easier than normal COD games because not a lot of people can move well.
Right.
So, a lot of people were just standing still and stuff. So it's easier to get kills and stuff like that.
Sure.
But,
Okay, that makes sense. But
I also feel like I'm an above average COD player, so that might help.
So if you invest the time to learn the controls and get good at it.
Yeah, it doesn't take long to learn the control. It's just getting used to the movement. But that only took me maybe an hour or so to get
really
pretty comfortable in the movement.
All right, check that out. Yeah, I was interested to try it. That's good to hear though. I'm glad that they're doing all right. What about you?
Playing Batman, the Batman trilogy, Rocksteady. Trying to breeze through that before Modern Warfare and Outer Worlds come out.
How you liking it? How's it holding up after? Because the original Arkham Asylum.
That's what I'm playing right now, Arkham Asylum.
10 years, 2009. That game came out.
Yeah, dude, I was
Still holding
wondering if it was I couldn't remember if it was a 360 or an early.
I think it might have been
Xbox One game because it looks pretty good.
No, it would have been a last gen because PS4 didn't launch until 2013.
Yeah.
So yeah, it was probably a late gen last game or last year or last generation.
But yeah, I'm digging that. I don't know if I have enough time to beat all three.
Well, they get longer as it goes.
Yeah,
it becomes more open world.
The second one's like open world or open city, I guess.
City, and then Arkham Knight is practically an open world game.
Yeah.
Now you were playing, was it Bloodstained?
Yeah, I beat that.
How was that? Did you like that one?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I dig the side scrollers. It wasn't very hard.
Really?
I think Ori was probably a little bit harder.
Okay.
Puzzle wise, which I'm hyped for Ori, the second Ori. I'm trying to. Oh yeah, I was playing Destiny 2. New Light. That's like the free to play mode.
Now, what's the newest one that's not free to play?
Shadowkeep.
Shadowkeep. That's the one everybody's
DLC.
talking about. Okay. Now, so what is it called? Light. What is
New
it?
Light.
New Light. Now, is that that's Destiny? That's basically Destiny 2 with a new name, right? It's free to play.
Yeah.
And it's got like the Destiny 2 base game.
Yeah, if you just look up Destiny 2, it'll say free.
Okay.
Free to download or whatever.
I was thinking about jumping back into that too, just because it did go free to play.
Yeah. And I mean, it's good. I think Destiny's probably the best live service franchise.
I think it's the most successful.
Yeah. And with them being out from underneath Activision, I think Shadowkeep's the first big
expansion since they've left.
Since Activision left, and I like it. I just only quit playing it because there's other games coming out, and I just don't want to invest much time. You
have to divide your time and attention, and
it's too much. But it plays good. It shoots good. Anything you expect from a Bungie game. Yeah.
Well, that's good. Not a whole lot.
Moonlighter.
What's Moonlighter?
It's a really good dungeon crawl rogue type game. That's on Game Pass.
Is that a side scroller?
No, it's like top down Zelda style combat. But yeah, like I said, I'm just waiting for Modern Warfare and Outer Worlds.
Outer Worlds. Yeah. Outer Wilds came out earlier this year. Yeah. I'm waiting for Modern Warfare and Death Stranding.
Yeah.
Because Death Stranding is going to be 2 weeks after Modern Warfare. And that'll probably, depending on how long that takes, if that takes 50 or 60 hours, that'll probably take me through the rest of the year. The only thing that I've really been playing, I've been playing a ton lately. Actually, that's not true. I've been playing little bits of a lot of games. I ended up re-upping my subscription to PlayStation Now since they dropped the price from $20 to $10 a month.
Yeah, smart move.
A lot more digestible in terms of the cost. So I've been playing God of War only because I played through it already, but just to see the fidelity, because the PS2 and PS4 games you can download Game Pass. PS3 games are stream only. Not exactly sure why. I think it has something to do with the cell processor they used last gen.
Yeah.
It makes it harder to. It's not necessarily compatible with the PS4's architecture. But yeah, it's been good. I tested out a bunch of different games. I streamed God of War. Everything was great. Now, the internet that I have, it was 35 megs down, 3 up. So as long as nobody else in the house is doing anything, the streaming was fine. Yeah. Now, as soon as Stephanie was upstairs watching Netflix, there was definitely, it was still playable, and it didn't the timing didn't throw me off in terms of lag. But you could definitely see some artifacting in the stream quality, or the actual visual stream. I had the kids over last weekend, and once they jumped, Corey got on his iPod, and Ella was on the iPad. It kept cutting me off. They were your bandwidth is there's too much on your bandwidth, and so I can't remember. It was a warning message basically kick everybody else off if you want to continue the stream, and if it doesn't, it kicks you out to the main menu. So obviously, as you have better internet, your stream is gonna be all depending on that. So I've been playing that. I did test out Mortal Kombat 10 for a Twitch type of game to see. Mm-hmm. I didn't notice any lag. Again, there was nobody else on the network. I tried a racing game where, again, your reflexes were very dependent on that. Everything was good. If you have a lot of people on the stream or on your bandwidth, I don't think it's going to be great, which is obviously going to be a real-world problem for things like xCloud and Stadia and PlayStation Now as it evolves. But yeah, it's cool. There are 300 games on there.
Really?
Yeah, and so now
you got a lot of first parties, or most first parties, or
older first parties. So they had, obviously God of War. They had some of the early PS4 gen first parties. They don't have things like Spider-Man. There's no Horizon Zero Dawn or anything like that. But yeah, if you wanted to go back and play Beyond Two Souls or Infamous Second Son or something like that, or the early Killzone games, you can do that. But it's been really cool. I'm playing a lot of older PS2 games. I've been playing some really niche Japanese RPGs from the PS3 era that Trails of Steel or Trails of Cold Steel and some really obscure nerdy ass JRPGs I really liked. I booted. Do you guys remember Rogue Galaxy?
Mm-hmm.
I've been playing Rogue Galaxy.
I like Rogue Galaxy. Never beat it.
It's definitely dated, but it's fun. I mean, it's a PS2 game, but it's fun. Some of the old Star Ocean games are on there, stuff like that.
Cool, yeah. See, I wish Xbox had more JRPGs.
But yeah, so that's been cool. I've been messing around PlayStation Now. Like I said, I think it has a 7-day free trial before you pay your $10 a month, or it's $60 for a year if you just pay all up front.
Mm-hmm.
So that's cool. I'm probably gonna keep it. I did have it before. I think I dropped out after 2 months because $20 a month was just
That's a lot.
That was a lot. But now that like streaming services, and like I said, they have to stay competitive, obviously. So dropping it to $10 a month, I think is a very smart move. It's almost like an impulse buy at that point. Other than that, other thing that I've been playing is Red Dead Online.
Yeah, I heard they dropped a big.
They dropped a big update, which
Yeah.
I didn't really do a whole lot with because I'd never played it before. Somebody I follow on Twitter, I can't remember her name. She always posts. I'm going to pull her up because I want to give her credit. Why is Eddie Guerrero trending on Twitter?
Must have done something spectacular.
Or bad. Something.
Eddie Guerrero's been dead for a couple of years.
From beyond the grave.
That's what I
He
mean.
did something spectacular from beyond the grave.
Why is it? Hold on.
Maybe he's been connected to a string
Oh,
of unsolved serial
happy
murders.
birthday. It would have been his birthday. Yeah, he died a couple years ago.
Yeah, I knew that. And I forgot.
Yeah. I can't be expected to remember that. Let's be honest.
Ella Rianora on Twitter. She posts. She always posts like landscape pictures from Red Dead, which are like obviously the landscapes and everything. Here, I'll show you guys. But like every day she'll like post, and it was just like, man, that really is like a cool world to be in.
Yeah.
So I ended up re-downloading it and jumping in because I already beat the campaign, so there was no reason for me to go through that. But it's cool. I'm only a couple hours, I would say less than 2 hours in, honestly, probably 90 minutes in. So it's still kind of like the tutorial opening. Now, there is obviously a character creation. You're still like learning the ropes, but I haven't really done a ton with like the other players in the world. But I'm excited to see it's got its hooks in me in the way that GTA Online never did. I don't know if it's just because I like that world more, like
That's why I like Red Dead more than GTA, just because I dig the environment.
The Wild West type of, cowboys type of situation. So I'll probably keep playing that at least until Modern Warfare comes out for the next couple weeks. But yeah, man, I mean, I really haven't been playing much. Honestly, it's been kind of a quiet fall.
Yeah.
There aren't too many. Now, there's a small handful of like really big titles. Death Stranding, Modern Warfare, or like Call of Duty obviously is every year. Borderlands was a big game this year, but obviously that's not annualized. The Outer Worlds, people are, for the most part seem to be pretty excited for. But yeah, there's really not a lot. Doom Eternal, I don't know if you guys saw that. It got delayed to March 2020.
No,
it was supposed to come out this fall.
Not really a Doom guy, but yeah.
But yeah, there's really not a ton for the next couple weeks, I don't think. So it's just going to be kind of...
It's a waiting game.
Yeah, just kind of working through the backlog until something new comes up.
That's pretty much what I'm doing.
But yeah, I mean, that is all I've got, unless you guys have anything.
Not quite.
No, nothing? All right, guys, I guess that is it for this week's episode of the Save Point Vids podcast. Let us know what you are playing, what you think about the news stories. Tweet at us, follow us, Twitter, just search Save Point Vids on any of the major social media platforms. If you do listen to this on an audio service instead of a YouTube video, give us a 5-star or a thumbs up or a heart or whatever it is the rating system of choice on your particular platform is. And most importantly, please tell a friend. We love what we do, but it is still very much a passion project. So obviously, just like anybody, we love to see the numbers go up and the support grow. But last thing, check us out, youtube.com/SavePointViz. Give us a thumbs up, hit the subscribe button. And until next time, you guys stay safe.